Hey everyone, this is Skorn, and this is Tarkov News and Community Reflection. In the second episode here, I'm going to be talking about Nikita and his AMA that he's done here on Reddit, and the questions and the answers. So the first question here is, why is there no lock sort feature in Stash or dragging multiple items at once? We need quality of life in order to spend time in Stash. Now the lock sort feature would mean that if you have a container and you place it, you'd be able to lock it, and that way when you sort your stash, it wouldn't be able to move. Nikita says that this is planned. Let's hope that comes sooner than later. One of the other questions is, somebody asked, have you thought of making something like the Rust Updates Twitter feed that they specifically have? They just post their commits exclusively, so it doesn't get cluttered down by all of their other news and posts. That way, when specifically people want to find news on just the updates, they have a place to go to where they can see those. Nikita said, interesting. This means he's probably thought about it passingly, but not really. If you paid attention to this thread as it was going on, he was answering these really fast, so I'm not sure if he would have even actually clicked through to the link, or maybe he did and just like passingly looked at it for 12 seconds, but he was answering these pretty fast, so I'm not sure how much attention he would stick to each individual question here, as he was trying to get to as many of them as possible. So somebody asked, on average, how many players are playing EFT at any given time? Nikita responds, hundreds of thousands. Now, I know according to the person who runs the wiki, they say that they get about 180,000 to about 280,000 unique searches a day. And chasing this thread down, people asked him how many were online concurrently at one time, and Nikita responds 70 to 120K. People argue about the numbers if you keep going down this thread, but if you go to Tarkov's active numbers here, I know people say the MMO stats isn't like currently online, but apparently reading is hard for people. This is unique logins a day. It's not how many people are playing at one point. So in Nikita, when you get a population of about 400, 500,000, or at its low point after the wipe was a month and a half in, 280,000, it seems to have come back up a little, back up to about 400,000. Yeah, that would lead to about 70,000 in the low points to 120,000 online. So the estimates here seem to line up with Nikita's numbers, so that all checks out. People continue to argue this point in the thread more, but as somebody points out, why would the login queue and the servers crash hit over 200,000 people needing to log in if that many people weren't playing? Think about it. One of the questions is, why have you not implemented 2FA? This is like two-factor verification where you need to submit a number on your phone. It is implemented, and it's most likely going to be added everywhere. I know in Axel's video, he went onto a VPN and tried logging into a bunch of Asian regions and then logging back in there, and he got the phone prompt to log back in. I haven't tested it because I don't use VPN software to go anywhere. I'm landlocked in central Canada, and my internet won't make it that far. Here was asked, is it realistic to slow down or stop new features or allow you to finish or improve what you currently have? Nikita answered in a different thread, there will be no more large features until the release. And I know people who are the moderators on the ETF server have been heavily testing Tarkov Arena for over 6 months now. I have them on my friends list. I see them logged into Tarkov Arena testing servers. So that's what they've been testing for a while now. The mods, the Sherpas, and the people who are really close up in the community have been testing that. I wouldn't be shocked if some of the big name streamers who have been working with BSG since the beginning also have access to the Tarkov Arena test server, so they can have content ready to release it when the Tarkov Arena is actually released, because BSG loves to do planned events with their streamers, because that's one thing that they're really good at. Is there any chance scopes could be fully variably zoomed? I absolutely adore what you did with crouch levels, movement speed, and lean amounts. Could we get something similar, like with a scroll wheel for magnification on scopes? It would be amazing to take 1x6 scope and then partially zoom it halfway, and Nikita responds yes. Can we lower the ridiculous flea market level requirements, please? I have never met someone who can even have 3 markets from the flea at a time. I've actually hit 5 with the new flea market requirements, but I previously hit 11 with the old ones, so I do happen to agree that they are ridiculous and they need to change. Next question. Will we ever be able to see how many players are playing at a given moment, for example, the way you can see it on Steam? And Nikita says maybe after release, so probably not. Do you have a long-term plan to deal with cheat providers? Yes, we want to start pursuing them legally. World of Warcraft did this, and it was fairly successful at getting WoW Glider and a couple of the other providers shut down. So hopefully BSG can do this and get the larger cheat providers shut down and make it harder for them. Or set legal precedent to make it easier for them to get them shut down in the future. Is it even possible to make a raid replay system even if we had to download the replay on our end? Nikita says, it is possible. And this then reply, why don't do it? It requires netcode changes that we're doing right now for Arena. So they're already working on the netcode changes. I know this is something that Nikita's talked about in his live stream. Effectively, they want streets to be 4 times larger than it is now and support up to 60 to 100 PMCs. I know that Unity is going to be the major holdback on that. A lot of people suggested that they move to Unreal 5, but that would probably take too much development time for them. So the solution for them right now is to work on their netcode. Reddit asks, are there any more plans to roll out streamlined methods of communications, timeframes, progress updates, periodic ban totals? Nikita responds, yes. Then they make fun of him for his poor English because he responds like, we will prepare roadmap, I will answer questions. Guys, he's Russian. English isn't his first language. The fact that he's responding to this in English, take that as great instead of the fact that somebody from Reddit who speaks Russian has to translate for him. So, big step forwards. He is communicating with the community. Good job, Nikita. Hello, any chance we get some kind of statistics on raid end, something like list of players, number of kills per player, and he says something like this is planned. Will animations for bullet loading in our mags be implemented before release? Nikita says yes. They already talked about their green screen their green screen room that they got, and how they're going to be working on more animations for the game. When asked, is there going to be a lighting overhaul? Nikita responds yes. And what about the optics? They're working on the optics to make them better for release, so don't get your hopes up now, but hopefully that they're going to implement something like the previous question above about how you can zoom in with the optics. So if you had like a 1 to 6 at scope, you could set it to like 2, 2.4, 3.6, etc. How soon will we be able to change the email for our account? Nikita responds, we plan to bring it back. AK-12 when? ASAP actually. Shock, BSG adding more guns. Reddit again asks, can we get a roadmap for the next wipe? And we will sow such roadmap, as Nikita says so elegantly. So people have asked where the line on RMT is drawn. Nikita says the principle is simple. If you will give millions of real price items and will do it often, you will get banned. If you just want to return gear from time to time, it's okay. And there was another comment on the thread where basically he says that like returning a friend's gear set, that's fine. Giving them an expensive gear set, that's fine too. Giving them an expensive gear set 10 times, that's boosting. The RMT bans, this exact ban right now is automated, which means that they have to review all of the RMT bans before they go through. See, here's what he's talking about. If you bring a kit back, will you get banned? Nope, you'll not get banned. When are we getting more news about Arena? In the next month or so, he hopes. So somebody asked if they're going to fix the issue of the sunglasses shining, like if you have glasses on, like the T glasses, and there's heavy fog, you can see the glasses clear as day for 400 meters, so it just looks like a pair of glasses floating off in the distance, because it makes the disadvantage too great. And Nikita said that yes, it's bothered him for a long time. Eventually it will be fixed. So that sounds like it's a low priority bug, guys. So again, asked why can't you ban the fly hackers? And Nikita says it is. They're basically using something in the engine to bypass the movement thing, so they're not actually, their character isn't moving, it's probably just teleporting along certain stretches to get past that check. But even with that, those accounts that do rage hack like that, if you ever add them to your friends list, you'll see that they'll get removed from your friends list when they get banned within a day or two. Those rage hackers never make it past like level 11 to 15, and they're getting a ton of experience in their raids from rage hacking. But they get caught right away, guys. So you'll never see people fly hacking like that on level accounts that are like 30 or 40 or particularly 50. You'd have to be a lot more subtle for that. When will we see new Lightkeeper content? Next patches. So they are working on Lightkeeper stuff. Any chances we can see the bosses updated to 24% anytime soon? Yes. Well, that was quick. Here's a good point. This player asks, would it be possible to add a right-click check profile to view the profile/stats of the player that killed you at the post-raid screen? That would be very helpful for deciding if how I decide was legit or to a cheater. I guess he's just saying that if you could see a person's KD and see that they're above 15.0, you'd probably want to report them. But if you died to something that was like a 2.4, you might not be so inclined to press that report button. And Nikita says noted, which means he's read the post, thought about it, but probably nothing. What's your opinion that making the game harder just attracts more cheaters? I personally feel like a lot of the changes to Battle RMT has just pushed more people into using RMT. And Nikita responds, it is true. The harder the game, the harder to be successful in the game. It brings hesitation to turn on the black side. So he really is right. Every time that they make gear harder and harder to get, that's when people have started cheating more and more or getting more carries so they can get that sweet drip that they were used to. Can you consider removing turn speed modifiers from equipment? This feature makes the game feel more inconsistent when shooting for new players, like when you're moving left to right with your cursor, you're going to have to adjust every time, and it's easily avoided by changing your sensitivity to compensate for it, but it increases difficulty for new players and decreases it for experienced players. So it's generally kind of unfair. And Nikita says it will be removed, and for now it will be lowered by 2 times for the ergo penalties on armor. So that's pretty awesome. The people have talked about the recoil system several times, and Nikita's responded that they are already working on completely redoing the recoil system for each gun. They don't plan on having the same way that it kicks up and then goes back to steady. They want to do something completely unique with the recoil system in Tarkov. The people asked, will we be spending dev time on reducing the load time into raid? Nikita's response, yes. Twists ask, Nikita, I noticed you said no more big features been planned until after release. Does that mean custom rigs and armor hit zones have been scrapped, or are they just coming way later? And then he thanks him for taking time to answer questions. Nikita responds, new armor hit zones and armor plates are planned, but just like all of the features in this game, some of them are going to take longer to implement than others. How are you? Do you like coffee? Nikita is fine. He likes latte. People are asking, what about co-op PvE only mode? It will allow people to play Tarkov without being ejected by cheaters. And as Nikita points out, we have co-op PvE. It will not have the ability to save progression. So if you want to progress your PMC, you will have to risk it against other PMCs. There will be no system where Nikita will allow you to level up on your own and then go back in with gear against other players. That's what your scav is for, and if you want to level up your PMC, you'll have to play your PMC, and he's maintained that from the beginning. Someone asks, are you still motivated with everything Reddit and the community is chucking at you at the moment? Nikita responds, of course. I don't know if you guys have seen how much Nikita has made from this or how much fun he's had with all of the development of this game, but he is truly a man in love with this. This is a product of passion, not a product of making money. So he's very passionate about Tarkov, the game. If asked, is the game moving towards your vision of how it should be developed? He says, yes, it's moving in the right direction, and there's no actual issues with slows or blocks the progress. So he's saying that the development speed is the speed that it is at, and they're moving at. I know somebody asked why not get more people on solving bugs, and Nikita's quite lippy response was that, well, we can't train our modelers to fix bugs because that's not their job. So they only have so many coders, and those coders can only work on so many things at once. And they have to work on them as they come up, and they have to decide on the priority of that, so you can't just move people over to a job that they're not trained on. Free roam mode is still planned? Yes. Nikita still wants free roam, but their chances are that Unity engine isn't going to be able to handle it, so they're going to have to think of a way to integrate it properly into the game. How's progression on loadout presets for gear and stuff we bring into raid? Is it even in progress yet? And why can't we use maps in PMC special slots? Players are resorting to using online maps like, Map Genie and the others to help them out. Nikita says it's being planned and ready to be worked on, and maps need to be refined in game. So hopefully we'll get better maps. Love the game, bro. Cheaters are scum. Question 1. Will shoulder swapping your weapons ever be implemented? 2. If full release is still 2 or so years away, can you stop server wiping? You've shown you can do so many updates during this wipe. I know some like the server wipe, but we seem to stop playing after a couple weeks. I hate the wipe and I'm here for the long haul. Is it possible to have one map like Labs, maybe a new map that is a PvE raid only, so solo players or as a team can get started out effectively like a brand new map for new players? And is there a plan for mantling animation? Tired of jumping over tiny objects as I walk over them? Would you consider making it people can't aim down sights while using NVGs? That's realistic. It would make the IR laser actually useful. And arena when? And responses, so can you shoulder swap weapons? Yes, wipes are still needed because they need to test things in the game and they need to reset them and see how people progress with those wipes. They are planning an initial first map that will only be available to those below level 10 for the mantling animations, so you can go over things easier, yes. And so you can't aim down sights with the NVGs on, also yes. Arena when? ASAP. Is the population growing? It always grows. Don't listen to those saying that it's over. And if you take a look at their active charts, this is from a year ago and this is to here. So you can see that the average population has climbed about 100,000, assuming that you take these charts as vaguely accurate. Would you consider using a different cheat than BattleEye? No, we still have a thing to do with all of the AC system, which is the anti-cheat. What are the parameters behind KD when it comes to banning? In that video, we saw that the high KDs were more likely to be cheaters, and users with high KD are flagged automatically by your system and kept watchful eye on. Does it also take into account headshot percentage? If not, will you be implementing features similar to this and do so? I can't tell you, they will know. So Nikita is going to say is that he's not going to tell you specifically the features or the KD thresholds that they look for in hackers, because if they did, then hackers would know what to steer below so they could not get banned, and that would just be counterintuitive to the whole issue. Are there any plans to optimize the game further? He's already answered this question. They always plan on optimizing every time they can. They probably need to work on their indexing in their game. Not sure if this has already been asked, but will you consider an Operation Health at some point like Rainbow Six Siege had years ago? I know that cheating is on everyone's lips at the moment, but audio fixes are something I personally want more, and other performance issues. And although new content is always great, I'm honestly happy with what we already have, and I think a lot of more people are interested in seeing the game reach a healthier state performance-wise than rather just more maps. And this is what I said in my previous episode, that we want the game to be improved, and that we don't care about like getting more features in the game. And according to Nikita here, believe it or not, the majority of the tasks this year, which is all about fixing, optimizing, and so on, because he wants to play Streets the way Streets was meant to be played. He joked and he said he never played his game, but that's actually a lie. Nikita does play his own game, and he feels that Streets doesn't run good enough. It's not in the state that he wants it, so they need to optimize their entire game to get that running better. And when they re-optimize the game, hopefully they'll be able to reintroduce the loot back into Reserve and Interchange, which desperately need it. And I know that he said he's also increasing the loot at points of interest on maps. People have effectively asked if the geopolitical situation has impacted them, and he says slightly. It's become harder to hire, and they've had to work harder. This kind of lippy response basically says that Tarkov is in a horrible state of optimization and that you need a NASA computer to operate Streets, and you need to sell your kidney to get Lighthouse working okay, and Labs is impossible due to cheating, and they need to drop a big optimization patch, and Nikita just says, agree. He knows that they need to optimize this game, and as he stated, it's something that they're working on. Steam version? Yes. Any plans to start hiring developers away from Russia? It's no longer feasible to hire developers and make them move to Russia, considering the circumstances. We started hiring people all around the world starting at COVID. Why is the game too grindy or too hard? Nobody should be forced to kill 3 players each map to complete a quest. EFT was not made for casuals. It's too hard for you? Go to Warzone. Why have you promised to implement 2FA 3 years ago when so far you only implemented an Asia region? Because we decided so, due to stats of cheaters and everything. Basically, they implemented where it was required. What do you think about the Valorant anti-cheating system? It was written around the game, not like some plug-and-play solution. And that is the correct answer. The next three questions here, which are a little too long to get into in the video, basically get down into cheating. He's basically saying that fleet reports are being reviewed constantly. Reports is the best thing that you can do to combat hacking, and that anti-cheating is one of their top priorities. It always has been, it always was, and it always will be. Somebody asks, are you going to rewrite the entire game? Nikita responds, no. They've spent 7 years developing the game. They're not just going to throw it all out and do it again. Why did you make access to Lightkeeper so exclusive? Because it's end game content. He responds yes to its end game, I guess. And it is. It's not meant for everybody. There are portions in MMORPGs that only certain players get to, and they're locked based off difficulty. And if you don't want to put in the time, then you're not going to get to the end of a game. This person says it's really frustrating that it takes 15 minutes to gear up between raids. It takes me about 30 seconds to 2 minutes to gear up between raids. If it takes you 15 minutes to put on a helmet, earphones, your face mask, body armor or rig and armor, a gun, have ammo and meds, then Tarkov is probably too difficult for you, my friend. How does it feel to have the most autistic fan base in gaming? You talking about yourself here, Flies, which is pretty fun. I kept going through the thread and I found a few more comments from Nikita here. Somebody asked, how has cheating become so prevalent an issue under BSG? And he said, it wasn't become, you don't know the history of ETF. It pops up from time to time, usually after big updates, new cheats being released. And having played Tarkov since 2020 myself, I can tell you that the hacking does come and go in waves, and I think combating RMT lately is the reason that the hacks have gone up, so it's probably at a high peak right now, and as they combat it, that'll come down. If we keep scrolling down here, he says that we've banned them and we continue to ban them because people say that you're not banning these people, or the fleet rep people, or the fly hackers, but they do, and they continue to ban them. Someone was talking about systems to detect people on the flea market, but other people further down the thread point out that nobody really has over 100 flea market rep right now, and I've got 20, and there are people who play a lot more than me. I only play about an hour or two a day, so if somebody's playing this for 8 hours a day, they can easily have 100 flea rep now, depending on how many raids they had. Somebody said that you're not hunting down these discords or collections of hackers, and then Nikita said just DM me the links to them. And then people ask about the netcode refractor. I assume desync is because of lack of experience of developers, and he said no, it's not the lack of experience. There's netcoding failures, there's hardware hiccups, there's clienting errors and issues, there's trafficking issues, there's game server application errors, there's game server overloading issues, and there are other issues, probably indexing, which I keep mentioning because I hope they're going to fix their indexing. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Tarkov News and Community Reflection, where I go over the news that we have in the Tarkov community. I know today I basically covered Nikita's AMA that he did on the Tarkov Reddit, but a lot of people wanted to see that, so I hope that you found the information that you were looking for here. If you enjoyed the content, like, comment, and subscribe. SkornClaw, over and out.